This is News Today. The National Chief Imam has raised concerns Muslim students in public second cycle schools are not allowed to worship freely as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. At the annual celebration of the birth of Prophet Muhammad, the Chief Imam called on government to intervene.
This year's celebration of Prophet Muhammad's birthday, Maulid Nabi, was attended by the Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Usman Nuhu Shaributu, Vice President Pakwisi Emisa Arthur, Members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Ahmed. The celebration was on the theme, Education and Job Creation for National Development. The Chief Imam challenged Muslims to educate their wards to ensure they have a secure future. In an address read on his behalf, the Chief Imam was worried about the practice of forcing Muslim students to worship against their will.
It has come to the notice of His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, that despite our calls to government and other stakeholders for our Muslim students in public second cycle institutions to be allowed to worship freely without hindrance, some heads of public institutions still do not allow them free worship. Instead, they do force them to Sunday worship, which is contrary to the spirit of the Constitution of Ghana, which allows for free worship and association of any kind that one prefers. It is the hope of His Eminence that government will intervene in this matter, as we are all Ghanaians and deserve equal rights as others.
Vice President Pakwisi Emisa Arthur responded to the concerns raised.
It is not our understanding that Muslim youth are forced against their will to practice different religions. Let me say that the importance of education is known to all of us. That schools are good at providing a good environment for learning and socializing. However, the school is not meant for evangelizing. And government schools definitely are secular institutions and not meant to do what they claim to be doing. So we will find out exactly what is happening in some of the schools and correct this impression.
Acting spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, Arimi Yao Shuaib, highlighted the importance of the celebration.
This day, as the name traditionally referred to as the Maulid or the Milad al-Nabi, is a day set aside for us to remember the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In the belief of the Muslims, the birth of the Prophet signifies the greatest gifts or grace which the Almighty Allah has given to the world, representing the very essence of Allah's compassion and mercy for the whole of humanity by giving the final message to the Prophet Muhammad so that he can remove humanity from the darkness of ignorance and superstition and bring them into the light of belief, spirituality, and general enlightenment for development.
The Chief Imam also prayed for the nation.
The Food and Drugs Authority has warned of contaminated imported wheat flour on the Ghanaian market. The authority is therefore calling on the general public, especially catering services and bakers, to be watchful. According to the FDA, the Turkish company supplying the contaminated wheat flour is a subsidiary of one of the major suppliers of the products in the Middle East and some Asian countries. The FDA further revealed that the suppliers use strong chemicals to keep the wheat flour fit after it has been infested during transportation from Turkey to Ghana via sea. Now, pounding fufu can be a very tedious task. When you watch sometimes, admit it, it's a bit too hard, as it always looks like the person moving the fufu around in the mortar is just not far from losing some fingers. Now, with the advent of fufu pounding machines in the country, many Ghanaians seem to be moving away from the usual way of preparing the meal. But there could be a problem as operators handle the fufu. Redwan Osman highlights some health problems associated with this.
Fufu is a very popular meal in Ghana. It is made from a combination of boiled cassava and plantain or yam pounded in a mortar with a pestle into a giant mass until the mix is soft enough to swallow without chewing. It is best enjoyed with soups, palm nuts, light or granite soup, or a combination of soups. But the preparation of fufu requires hours of laborious work, from the boiling of the cassava and plantain or yam to the preparation of the soup. Pounding fufu on a regular basis has led to the hardening of many palms, with perspiration sometimes dribbling into the mixture. But with the advancements in technology, newer and easier methods are being sought to prepare this sticky mass of food. There is, for instance, a fufu pounding machine which grinds the cassava, yam or plantain within a twinkling of an eye. My curiosity to find out how these machines work took me to Kwashiman and Gbawe, all suburbs of Accra. At Kwashiman, the news team spotted a fufu milling machine a few meters away from a public toilet. The news team was shocked at closer inspection of the machine. Houseflies were seen enjoying food particles that, from the look of things, have been there for a very long time, even though the owner contends she washes it after each meal.
Make it papa, and Ibiru baba oba make it mantan babo poso o aba make it in mentia memo swa kapimubi negete mojo ala wo dem kete munsusuo na me make it miafa.
Attempt to talk to Charlotte Botio's customers proved futile. At Gbawe, the situation was not far from worse. Inside the milling room, I noticed the mill operator does not only twiddle with the mixture while milling, but he also dips a piece of foam into water, which is used to wet the dough in the machine to arrive at a uniform mixture. Louise Chidi is the operator here.
At times, when somebody comes and the first person is there, after he finishes, then you can pour the other person's one into it. But if it takes a little time, that one you will wash. We wash the thing before we put that the second person's food into the machine. That is the only thing we do.
For many patrons like Abena and Harrison, the advent of the fufu pounding machine is timely.
Na me show one city na the way I met na ho awo say kaka kura na obebre we wan kasa be fufu na we no kura na udi kura enye yie. Nti one city utua na say otimi be wo dey very simple mami. To me na simple.
You see, you can see that if the cassava some are not good, some are hard. So immediately I cook and finish like that, I take it here because some are hard. This one is the simple way to do it.
But public health expert Dr. Dennis Bote reckons there is cause for alarm.
Bacteria, you leave it in his shop. Bacteria can grow on it, fungi can grow on it. The following day, how is that machine clean? Is there hot water or something that will kill germs and things to make sure that starting a new day, I haven't gotten this machine infected with bacteria or some things from the environment? Because once cassava is carbohydrates, fungi, they love carbohydrates. They will just start growing. The bacteria, they just capture. It's a source of nutrition for them. People should be made to be responsible. So I'm saying that the standards board should go around, encourage the people, but then they should do the right thing. Hygiene is ultimate, it's optimum for us.
The fufu pounding machines have, however, not been able to render the traditional mortar and pestle redundant. It is important that the surroundings and conditions under which the meal is prepared are hygienic.
Some 5,000 delegates Saturday elected some 100 new regional executives for the New Patriotic Party ahead of the 2016 polls. Director in charge of elections, Martin J. Kosa, was impressed with the process and outcome of polls and urged all supporters to put their shoulders to the wheel to ensure victory in 2016.
It went very well across the country. 267 people offered themselves for various positions at the regional level, and 5,000 of our delegates voted. We have 100 of them now in place to man these regions for us for the next 4 years. It was hugely successful across the country, and we look forward to having the same success in the national one, whose nominations opens just today. Well, the stakes were very, very high, yet peaceful, orderly, successful. We had to ensure that the platform for engagement was largely fair. Okay, everybody wants to belong to the process. But what is important is how people feel that there's an even platform for engagement. When they lose, they know, look, we offered themselves, just that we're not voted for. That, for me, was the basis. Every step of the way, we tried as much as possible to ensure fairness, even though you would have people with 1 or 2 difficulties here and there. There were a few instances of complaints about the use of money. I recall, for example, in Ashanti region, on your sister station, Joy FM, one candidate complained about how a building was being donated to the party to be used as offices 2 days to the election, and thought that was unfair. But we never, in any of these instances, of all the complaints you may have heard, had a single official complaint made to us. On Joy FM, one candidate who had been complaining so much made it clear that he was not going to complain. At that point, officially, at that point, it becomes difficult for the party to do anything about those things. But we noted that there were a few concerns. I must also say that it was a bit exaggerated, by the media. We are in a position, we are not in good times. And we don't have so much money at your disposal to be able to, flood your elections with.
You're still watching News Today. Now, Joynews Israel Lai was in London gauging the mood after the passing of our colleague Komla Dumor. He spoke with some of his BBC colleagues. Let's take a listen.
Welcome to the BBC World Service's new offices here at Western in central London. We're pretty short. We're going to be going in there to get to speak to some of Komla Dumor's colleagues for them to share their memories and tell us their tributes in honor of our departed brother. It's all part of special programming as we honor the memory of our departed brother Komla Dumor. So do come with me as we go in there. I'm here at the BBC World Service, where I have with me Peter Okoche. He's one of the presenters on Focus on Africa TV. So that you tend to come in when Komla or Sophie Kenya is not around, right?
Yes, basically I'm the sports presenter on the program, but I'm also the relief presenter if Komla or Sophie were to be indisposed. I'd be called upon to come and present the program. So I do it from time to time, yes.
Okay. So typically what we're going to be doing today is that Peter is going to be taking me through Komla's day, a typical day for Komla at the office. Okay, so where do we start?
Well, I mean, right now we're on the 5th floor of the BBC's new office, a new broadcast house. We call it NBH. And Komla would walk through this
towering
area, yeah, with his, you know, as a bear of a man that he was. He'd walk through here and over to this place, because here is the BBC Focus on Africa team. This is where we put together our television program. We come in here and the first thing we do is to have our editorial meeting, and then the jobs for the day are shared out and everybody goes off to do whatever it is that they've been assigned to do. It takes us about 6 or 7 hours to put the program together.
Okay.
After this, Komla would go downstairs to make up and then into the basement where we have our studios to present the program.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll be going there a little later, but I guess these are some of his
These are
colleagues.
some of the people who worked with Komla on the program. This here is Kathy Harcum. She's a senior presenter on the program and worked very, very closely with Komla. 1 or 2 words about Komla.
It's been an incredibly difficult week this week. This is where Komla was sitting last week. Our world is now a very different place without him. He would make us laugh all day. It didn't matter how difficult the day was, how challenging the tasks were to get us on air. Komla would keep us laughing all day, and we really miss that.
Thank you very much. So Kathy there, senior producer on the program. This is Lebo Diseko. She's from South Africa. She's also a producer on the program. 1 or 2 words about Komla.
I think Komla as a person, I mean, he was an incredible journalist, but I think as a person in South Africa, we say a person has butu. So you're a
We'll definitely bring you the full interview in a subsequent broadcast. But Multimedia Group Limited last Friday held a remembrance service in honor of our departed colleague and BBC anchor Komla Dumor. The event was graced by former colleagues of Joy FM, current staff, renowned poets, musicians and members of the clergy. Komla Dumor died January 18 at his London residence. In the studio with me, Klaus von Beckelstein, and he's Chief Operating Officer of Multimedia Group, COO of Multi TV, and Esinam Donko, Events and Promotions Group Head. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in the studio.
Thank you for having us.
What did it feel like watching that video from London?
It's not too different from what we experienced on last Friday. Of course, Komla was a big deal in this family. We continue to mourn. We'll forever keep him in our hearts. So it's the same feeling. We're still mourning and hoping that God will give us the strength to go through these hard times.
And Esinam, that's why we held the remembrance service.
Yes, it was a time for us to just share our memories of him, you know, sort of say that, yes, indeed, we miss him, and these are some of the things that we're going to miss about him. These are the ways that he liked to enjoy himself with some of the music and stuff that we played on the day, and just generally mark it in some way that allows us to sort of like go on to the next day and move on with our lives in a way. So that was the big thing about remembering Komla.
Absolutely. And we'd like to say thank you to some people.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, but just to once again say a big thank you to the multimedia family. It was a very good platform for the entire family, past and present, to come together once again to remember our brother. And so you realize that there were polo shirts with Komla's picture in front, and on the back was pioneers of Joy FM. I mentioned on Friday that a lot of people passed through the doors of Joy FM, and a lot of us experienced the love of Mr. Kwesi. So today, on behalf of Mr. Kwesi, management and staff of Multimedia, we're here to say a big thank you to all those who supported us on Friday to put together a good show and to show our brother love.
Yeah.
So just a few of the people, definitely not exhaustive, but we'd like to thank Archbishop Duncan Williams, who was unfortunately unable to join us, but he did send Bishop Oboda in his place, and we thank him for coming. It was a night of poetry and music, and it definitely wouldn't have been the same without Professor Tukwe Okai and Nana Sasi, the poet. So that helped us to sort of mark it in a way that would have been befitting Komla liking music and poetry so much. Also honoring us with their presence and also with their songs was Kojointri Amachi Dede, SP Kofi Sapong, Celestine Donko, and the Calvary Methodist Youth Choir. So they gave us the music component of the night, and we are most grateful to them for that.
One thing on our social media we've realized, I'll let you go on with the list, but people keep asking about the final funeral rites as to when it's happening.
Well, we still do not know when and where. The body hasn't arrived yet, and the family is waiting for the body to come in first of all, and then the rest of the plans will be revealed to the rest of us. So as of now, we do not know when and where.
Okay. So let's go on with the thank you list.
Yes. Some of the people who helped us in kind, Voltic and Bell Aqua, were most grateful for the water that they supplied us for our guests. And the lovely decor and setup were done by Jandel and Tiafi Amoro. We are most grateful. Security, we got from CPS Security. They helped us keep the peace. And we do understand that it was really, really short notice, of course. One couldn't have planned for this sad event, but it was really short notice when we planned the event. And Mr. Richard Aifo Hlomado and his team from Silicon House and KNet were really, really helpful. They pulled in when we called them at the last minute and brought us all the equipment that we needed, especially Commando, and we are most grateful. Also, Mr. Kofi Edupoku supplied us with a huge LED screen, and that came from Big Ideas Consult. We're most grateful. Mr. Nabil Mohammed for our stage from Event Factory, and also Mr. Seth Kwedu for the Visionary Face Service. They helped us screen off the area that we used for the event, and we are most grateful to them for that.
Well, I'll give you the final words. What do you have to say?
Well, we still have a lot
more on the list.
On the list.
Just a few more. Just a few more.
I don't want us
should
to
I have
omit.
I think then I should have
the last batch.
Okay. Let me just add, Mr. Maoli Ahoto from Radio 7 helped us with the lighting. Mr. Kofi Chireko with Sound Masters also assisted us. And we are most grateful to Mr. Samuel Atamensa from City FM and the City FM crew for the inputs that they gave. He's definitely been a part of the Joy family, and he did show up and supported us greatly.
And the event was live on City FM as well.
Yes.
Well, the following special guests were also with us: Mr. Kweku Beduado, MD of Stanchat, Mr. Joel Nete, CEO of Resorts, Edem, Ayube Edem, Efia, Reggie Rockstone, and Albert Okrasi of Combat Impressions. And
there was Amachi Dede and Kojointri as well.
Yes, Amachi Dede and Kojointri came to perform.
Yes, I mentioned.
So, and also
you did.
SP Kofi Sapong.
You did, absolutely. So it's a big thank you from us here to them.
Yeah, but again, very important. The multimedia team was very powerful in organizing this. We thank them. We thank the present multimedia family members, and we also thank our brothers and sisters who are abroad. I received text messages from abroad. In fact, all gadgets were switched on. They were monitoring from beginning to end. And so we're most grateful. On behalf of Mr. Kotichun, once again, we are very, very grateful to all the people who supported us, and we thank all of you for being there in these hard times.
Thank you very much for passing through as well. We've been talking to Esinam Donko. She's Group Head, Events and Promotions, and Klaus von Bachterstein, who is COO for the Multimedia Group Limited. And I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Why am I so self-important?
You're welcome back to News Today. Now, the gas processing plant at Atuabo in the Western region will be fully completed by March 2014, according to Sinopec. Contractors working on the projects. The plant, which is 87% complete, will produce its first gas on April 28, 2014 and will be distributed after processing.
Sinopec has given itself 66 more days to complete the Ghana Gas project, although the company said the project is 0.77% behind schedule. Officials of the Ghana National Gas Company Limited, the Volta River Authority, the Jubilee partners, among other stakeholders of the project on their visit to the plant site, were informed by Sinopec the plant in the next 3 months will produce gas for the country. Sinopec said the offshore pipeline which links the plant to the FPSO is about 96% complete, while the pipelines on shore are 97% complete. All utility facilities, including power generation sets, have been fixed with water tankers. However, Sinopec is yet to pre-commission the LPG tanks to fully operate, as the radioactive chemical needed for it is yet to be imported from South Africa.
Now, you were informed that you're going to get the item by the end of the month of January. I think there's a long chain of buyers, and so we are in the queue. So we are going to try to expedite our procurement by getting our embassy involved in South Africa. The delegation of Ghana Gas Sinopec will live here with the help of our embassy in South Africa to go to the supplies and make sure that we get it as quickly as possible and put it on air and air freight it to Accra.
The Ghana Gas project is apparently the most awaited project in Ghana. Ghanaians are really looking forward to this project, the completion of it, because the power generation of the country depends on it. Now, gas supply from the West African gas pipeline is currently erratic, and with the coming on stream of this project, the power generation of the country is expected to be somewhat stabilized. We have had a lot of delays with this project, and we are hoping that this time around the date that has been given would really be the date that we would have the first gas. The challenge with gas supply currently makes it crucial for government to ensure the completion of the project. The Jubilee partners also pledged they will cooperate with Sinopec and the GNGC to ensure the project is completed.
Part of the project is more national than in the individual institution, because it allows us to, one, complete the project on schedule and on budget, two, make gas available for thermal generation, and therefore reduce the cost of generation. I think the important thing right now is the coordination of our work, so that we work together so that we meet the target. Far more than debating around any other issue, coordinated work is and that's what the minister has said he's going to lead us to do, which is the right thing. So the coordination is what we need right now.
It is very gratifying to see a lot of progress has been made. We are committed, the Jubilee partners are committed to working to the schedules that have been established to ensure that everything is in place per our responsibilities at the appropriate time. And I think on an ongoing basis it's going to be very important that the task force is fully inclusive, that all of the stakeholders are fully committed to working together to allow us to interrogate each other regarding our own responsibilities, to build up the full confidence that we're doing the right things and being prepared to take the appropriate actions at the appropriate time to allow the project to be brought to completion.
Meanwhile, all funds needed for the completion of the project has been made available to the contractors. Sinopec assured they will surely complete the project by March 31 and distribute gas a week after April 28. Reporting from Etabu in the Western region, Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the Abuasi thermal plant is to receive 40 million standard cubic feet of gas daily from the Ghana gas plant at Atwabo after its completion. The plant at full capacity will, however, provide the plant with 120 million standard cubic feet of gas daily. The VRA says while waiting for Ghana gas, it will have to manage supply of power as it gets ready to receive about 90 million standard cubic feet of gas from Nigeria by close of the week.
Right now, the good thing about Ghana is that the load is growing roughly 200 megawatts every year, and that's a lot of growth. We're not adding on that additional capacity, and that's where we see all these challenges. Before last week, power supply had been very stable and reliable. It's just because the capacity we have is just close to the demand. So whenever a machine goes down out of a forced outage or a planned outage, then we have these challenges. So I can assure you we're doing everything possible Right now, the recent problem was as a result of a planned outage and one forced outage. But we're working on them. We need some of these outages to make sure that we can reliably supply electricity to our customers. So with Ghana gas coming, our dependence on Nigerian gas or even on crude oil is going to minimize. They've had a number of issues. Anytime it happens, it's something to do with force majeure. So if a pipeline has been vandalized or something and they can't deliver the gas, we can't 100% blame them. As a result of a problem administration, a problem with the ELPS line, and they keep on repairing. That repair alone took them close to the whole of last year. So right now we are close to that. I talked to them early this week. They've assured me that at least the 90 million standard cubic feet will be ready by the end of the week. We're just hoping. But we wouldn't want to hope in somebody's gas. We would hope in our own gas. And I'm convinced that what I've seen today is giving us assurance that we start getting our own gas from our own field and burn to reduce the cost of generation in Ghana.
Japan has reported a record annual trade deficit after the weak yen pushed up the cost of energy imports. This deficit rose to 11.5 trillion yen, about $112 billion or 68 billion pounds in 2013. And that is a 65% jump from a year ago. The latest trade data shows that while Japan's imports of liquefied natural gas rose 0.2% by volume in 2013 from the previous year, the value of those imports surged nearly 18%. Japan has seen its energy imports rise in recent years after it shut all of its nuclear reactors in the aftermath of the tsunami and earthquake in 2011. But it is having to pay more for those imports after a series of aggressive policy moves weakened the yen sharply. The Japanese currency fell from more than 20% against the US dollar between January and December last year. The Japanese electronic giant Sony has had its credit rating cut to junk status by ratings agency Moody's. Now, Moody's said its expected earnings from Sony's core businesses to continue to face significant downward pressure. It said it was especially concerned about the firm's TV and personal computer business, both of which face intense global competition. Sony, which has been struggling for some time now, lowered its full-year profits forecast by 40% in October. It said at a time that it expected to make a net profit of 30 billion yen, just about $290 million, in the financial year to 31st March 2014. Now that was down from its earlier projection of 50 billion yen. That'll be all for Business on News Today. I'll be back with some sports news. Don't go away. Welcome back. Sports news on News Today is brought to you by Tigo and Cowbell. Now, Ghana will face Nigeria in the African Nations Championships semi-finals after a 1-0 victory over DR Congo. Now, that is the much-awaited match. And the Black Stars secured their place in the last four thanks to Komla 69th minute penalty at the Free State Stadium in Bloemfontein. Here are highlights.
Sides lining up against each other in the last of the quarterfinals. Up against the more fancied Black Stars, the DRC fashioned out the first real chance of the clash, ballooned over by Dombe Mobele. Ghana had been lively without threatening in the opening half hour. Anything created, dealt with enough by the Leopards. The struggle to break the deadlock was one no side managed to overcome in the first 45 minutes as another chance sailed over the target. It was going to take some fortune for any side to open the scoring, and Ghana were very happy when they were handed a penalty after a handball in the area, and despite the DRC's protests, the penalty was well converted and the Black Stars started shining. While DR Congo tried their best to dim that shine, Ghana held on to the slender lead to keep their Chan 2014 title aspirations alive, winning by a 1-0.
Decide who would join them in the semi-finals. Two chances in the space of a minute at either end came close to opening proceedings, with the Gabonese set piece hitting the crossbar, before Ali Salama should have at least forced the keeper into a save. Libya came close with a free kick of their own midway through the half, but they would have to wait until after the break to finally have cause for celebration.
Omar has got an opportunity, finds the back of the net, it's Libya ahead, his 10th goal of the tournament.
23 minutes later, the game then swung in favor of the Panthers, as the referee pointed to the spot after a foul in the box, leaving Daniel Kuzan to set up a tense final period.
Sends him the wrong way, it's 1-0. Game on yet at Peter McCarver Stadium.
The match going into extra time, the Mediterranean Knights enjoyed the better of the post-regulation chances, as the woodwork and the keeper proved able adversaries. Still drawn at the end of extra time, the dreaded shootout ensued. The first 3 spot kicks went without incident, but a safe shot from Libya's number 1 and Sokambi Tati hitting the upright saw the North Africans go through 4-2 on penalties.
Game, set and match. Libya are through to their first Orange African Nations Championship semi-finals.
Thanks for staying on. Let's check out other news. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is threatening sanctions against those in the Central African Republic who keep destabilizing the country. Kerry Sunday called on all Central African Republic leaders, past and present, to be clear in condemning the violence and stop it from gaining momentum. In a written statement, he said the U.S. will consider targeted sanctions on those who pursue their own selfish ends by abetting or encouraging violence. Interim CAR President Catherine Samba Panza named a new Prime Minister Saturday. The CAR erupted in violence between Muslim and Christian militia last March when Muslim rebels toppled President Francois Bozize. In Somalia, a commander of the rebel group Al-Shabaab says a U.S. drone strike has killed one of the group's senior leaders. Ahmed Abdul Qadir Abdullahi was killed when his car was hit by a missile in Somalia's Lower Shabelle region. The victim was a senior aide to Al-Shabaab's top leader and was recently appointed head of Al-Shabaab Health Department. His driver also was killed in the attack. Washington is sharing app for President Barack Obama's State of the Union address to be delivered Tuesday at the U.S. Capitol. The White House has already revealed major themes the president will discuss, and Republicans have telegraphed how they will respond. According to White House spokesperson Jay Carney, Obama's agenda for his 6th year in office includes a sharp focus on the growing gap between rich and poor Americans. Republicans agree on the need for greater economic opportunity, but say the president stands in the way. And U.S. intelligence leaker Edward Snowden has alleged the National Security Agency engaged in industrial espionage. In an interview with Germany's ARD TV, the former NSA contractor said the agency would spy on big German companies that competed with U.S. firms. Snowden, who was granted temporary asylum by Russia, also said he believed that U.S. officials wanted to kill him. His leaks caused outrage in Germany when it came to light Chancellor Angela Merkel's phone had been bugged. After the row broke out last year, Merkel accused the U.S. of an unacceptable breach of trust. That'll be all for international news. Let's come back to the country. And the Tema Development Corporation last week demolished over 100 houses at the Jekujo in Sraha, east of Tema. I'm sure you recall it. Now, according to the 2012 parliamentary candidate for Tema West, an ex-minister, the TDC should have dialogued with residents. My colleague Matilda Wemega is back to the area. She's joined us over the telephone. Hello, Matilda.
Hello, Kevin.
What's the latest with this demolition situation?
Well, over the weekend, Nadmo was here and then gave out some tents to residents here, especially those who have nowhere to go. They have been given tents, and then most of them are complaining about the size of the tent now, where they are complaining that the whole family has to share this particular tent. Some are like about 16, 20 sharing one tent. And they are complaining there's not enough. They have nowhere to go, so they are still lodging here, waiting for an intervention. But then aside that too, they've also been provided with mattresses and mosquito nets and things of that sort. And the Church of Pentecost too has also been here to give them rice and then oil, and they just gotten water to give to the residents here. So I think for the time being, the residents are getting relief from
All right, Matilda, we'll leave it here for now. We'll get more updates in a subsequent broadcast. Thank you very much. Matilda Wemega joined us from Sraha East, J. Kujo. Now let's talk showbiz now. The one-time BET Award winner, Sarkodie, whom some Ghanaians have associated with the famous Illuminati group, has debunked the rumors, saying he doesn't even understand the word.
Yeah, first namon kamasem, fisena mi nibi. And the cash abanti, mobile fame Illuminati. Sorry, man, you're lucky. On my way to Grammy, I could join the group.
Over the weekend on the white carpet on Joy News, Multi TV denied being an Illuminati.
First and foremost, I don't know what that means, so I cannot even be the word. You know, I'm not.
Okay. He said he can only hope that people will cease asking such questions and leave it to rest. Meanwhile, Sarkodie and EL have sent their condolences to the family of Komla Dumor, the boss player.
We have lost a great son. We've lost somebody who has been a living example to us, the young ones. So I think it's a heavy blow for us to bear, and it's going to take a while for the wounds to heal. But like, you know, the wise people say, the Lord giveth and the Lord takes away. So we just have to accept it.
He is, like when I met him, as I said, it makes me feel like this is one of us who's like there, right? He didn't sell his identity to go anywhere. He was still Komla Dumor, you know, and that makes me feel like I still have to believe in what I'm doing, you know, because it's crazy, but we just have to go with it.
Come on now, Sarkodie doesn't know what Illuminati is, so get over it. Now, our headlines again. Ghana's Foods and Drugs Authority warns of contaminated imported wheat flour on the Ghanaian market. And the meeting is currently underway on this issue as well. Gas processing plant at Etwabo in the western region to be fully completed by March 2014, according to Sinopec contractors working on the project. Japan reports a record annual trade deficit, up 65% on the previous year. U.S. Secretary John Kerry threatens sanctions against those in the Central African Republic who keep destabilizing the country. For more news on MyJoyOnline.com, thank you very much for staying through the hour. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amana. I'll see you later.